Hi guys, do you like stories about dogs? I thought you did. Well, let me tell you this one. It's called The Dog and His Bone. A dog was waiting outside the butcher's shop one day, as he often did, looking as hangdog and as sad as he could. As usual, the butcher saw him, took pity on him, and threw him a bone. Off trotted the dog, happy as could be, his tail wagging as he went, thinking of where he would bury the bone and how good it would taste after a week or two. There he is, look. As he neared his home, he had to cross a little footbridge over a stream. He was padding across when he stopped to look down at the water, because he was rather thirsty. He was trying to work out how he could keep the bone in his mouth and have a drink at the same time, when he noticed another dog gazing back up at him out of the water. A bigger dog, who had a very much bigger bone in his mouth than he had. "That's not fair," he thought. "His bone's bigger than mine and I want it." With that, he jumped into the river and made a grab for the other dog's bone. But to do that, he had to drop his own first. Only then, as he saw his bones sinking to the bottom of the river, did he realise the mistake he had made, how silly he had been. There had been no other dog, no other bone, only his reflection in the water. He clambered out of the river, shook himself dry, and walked off home, his tail between his legs, feeling very stupid and very cross with himself. I don't know about you, but I've got a feeling that story was about more than just a dog and a bone. I know the way it was read, it makes it feel like non-fiction, particularly the dog's voice. I mean, it was like watching a documentary, wasn't it? But I do think that the message of that story might be not giving up what you have got in fixating on things that you haven't got. And very simply, that's my theme for today. I want us to think about when we return to school, what we've got, the opportunities that are there. You're at a school which has got a really good remote learning provision. You've got a tutor who you're going to see every day. You've got people like Mr. Edwards, Mr. Haining working in the background to get out some games material to you so you can keep yourself fit and healthy. Everything's there for you to keep you going. And you've got an opportunity to really, really get ahead now. So regardless of if you're in the upper six, how exams are going to look this year or how exam replacements are going to look this year, the simple message from me is do your best, work hard, approach every day in a really, really positive way, and that will get you to wherever you need to be. So what does that look like in terms of remote learning? What I'm going to ask for you to do is every morning, 8:20, be ready for school, be dressed for the day, be out of bed, Dylan, ready to go so that you've got your camera on in tutor, you're there interacting with each other, interacting with your tutor. It feels businesslike, it feels purposeful. Same therefore in all your lessons, get involved and get really engaged in everything. And very, very simply, I think the more focused you are and the harder you work, the quicker this time will go. And before you know it, we'll all be back here, the sun will be out, we'll be having a great time, and we can't wait to see you. All right, on to some other messages from other people now.
Dear Sandy Lane Massive, I just want to share a very quick story with you, and it's called The Closest I Came to Getting a Tattoo. So, as some of you probably know, last year I signed up for a white collar boxing match. It's the hardest mental and physical challenge I have ever undertaken. Now, the result is not important, but I learned a lot about myself. I discovered I had the courage to go sparring 3 times a week, knowing I was going to get punched in the face. I learned that I had the stamina to keep sprinting up and down the gym when other guys were being sick or given up. I learned it was okay to be afraid. The night before the fight, I didn't sleep a wink, but I learned to confide in friends and family, and they gave me the strength and encouragement I needed to get to the fight night. I found great comfort in the idiom, strength through adversity. You might be familiar with other phrases that mean the same thing, growth mindsets, for example. So much so that I promised myself I would have strength through adversity tattooed on my arm after the fight. Now, I haven't got that tattoo yet, but I consider the sentiment every day. Now, the experience gave me great confidence, self-belief, and purpose. Now, what I think is important in moments like this is to avoid a fairly dangerous mindset of considering what is being denied to us, what can't we do, whether that's games fixtures, after school activities, or even parties. What we might consider is how this difficult time is helping to shape character. Are we becoming more resourceful, more independent, more resilient? Or what other opportunities can we enjoy? A case in point for the upper sixth is our A-level grades. The upper sixth has a unique opportunity to focus all its energy on producing the best possible exam results it can. Now, this might not be an attractive idea for many members of the upper sixth, but equally, this could open doors or could provide you with the opportunity to open doors to universities that you might not even have considered before. So, the road ahead is going to be bumpy. That's clear, and there's nothing we can do about that. But what we can do is make the most from the opportunities that are available to us. Now, they will look different, and they won't necessarily be what we're used to. We need to be creative and flexible. But this, I can promise you categorically, we learn far more about our character when the going is tough. So, strength through adversity. Read School Till I Die.
Happy New Year to you all, and welcome to 2021, which, despite our best efforts and intentions, is going to start remotely. I hope you've all had a lovely Christmas, a good rest, and that you've managed to spend some quality time with your close family. As we start this new, fresh year, my question to you is this. What are you going to focus on in the coming weeks and the coming months? Is it going to be the pile of Christmas presents that you've yet to give your extended family? My pal's currently sat right behind me. Is it the impending return to remote learning? Or is it the fact that you won't be able to see your friends physically for a few short weeks? Hopefully, it's none of those things. Hopefully, all the things that you've experienced and learned over the last 9 months are helping you to realise that we must focus on the positive, now perhaps more than ever, and that we must try as much as we can to think beyond the next 6 weeks. I know that's really difficult. I know that's a really challenging thing to ask you to do, but I really, really strongly want you to try and do it. I know I'll be echoing the rest of the sixth form team when I say this, and I'm going to borrow Mr. Davies' phrase that we are going to focus on strength through adversity. There are things that we can't change, but we can focus on managing things that we do have control over. Now, for you guys, whether that's focusing on your academic work, setting routines, making sure you get up on time, or even maybe learning a new skill in your spare time, I urge you, really strongly urge you to find something positive to focus on. I also want you to remember that your tutors, the sixth form team and I, we're all here to support you, and we're just a Teams phone call or a message away. Now, she says, what will be my focus, I hear you ask? Well, obviously remote teaching, because let's face it, I've got nothing else to do. But I'm also got the challenge of training an absolute loon of a puppy. And I really hope I'm not sat here in 6 weeks' time telling you that she was one of the things that I couldn't change or control in any way. If anyone knows a good dog trainer, then please just send me their details. I'm really looking forward to seeing you all remotely over the next couple of days. And I just wish you all the best. And remember that we are just on the end of a Teams call if you need us. Take care.
Hello, sixth form. I'm coming at you from the sixth form cafe. Sadly, there is no Magda at the till, and none of you are here with me enjoying your frappuccinos, your cappuccinos. Nobody's eating any paninis, flatbreads, those kinds of things. They will go uneaten, which I know is quite devastating. But I don't want to dwell on that today, and I encourage you guys not to dwell on what you're missing out on as well. Instead, I'm going to share with you some wisdom that I've learnt or I've found. When in difficult times such as these, I often turn to the wisdom I can find in words. So today I'll be sharing a Japanese proverb. I'll be sharing it in English, not Japanese, make it a bit easier for you guys. So the translation is: vision without action is a dream. Action without vision is a nightmare. The first half of that proverb, I think, is particularly relevant to the lower sixth. You're at that stage now where you're probably starting to imagine what your life will be like, or who you want to be, what kind of universities you want to go to, what kind of courses you want to do. You're starting to have visions of who you want to be. Now, there might be a temptation over the next 6 weeks or so to not really have much action, okay, to be a bit passive. But I'm telling you that if you are inactive over these next 6 weeks, if you're not involved at all, then that vision you're starting to have for yourself is not going to be any closer to becoming a reality. It will remain just a distant dream. So I encourage you guys to make the most of this 6 weeks. See it as some sort of opportunity, because it is an opportunity that many others, even in this country, do not have at this time to really further their education. And it is an opportunity that many others, again in this country, won't be making the most of. So I encourage you guys to really get in there, get stuck in, and help start turning those visions into reality via action. For the upper six, the second half of that proverb is perhaps more pertinent. It's the idea that action without vision is a nightmare. And that might be how you're starting to feel at the prospect of remote learning. You're going to have lots of remote learning without any exams to try yourself in. And not true. Okay? I think, and it's Mr. Hoskins, these words I think came from it. He told me once there's a big difference between education and assessment. And any work that you do is adding to your education. So, yes, this work you do in the next 6 weeks might also prove helpful for any kind of exam substitute that comes in. But more importantly, you'll be challenging yourself. You'll be bettering yourself. You'll be focusing your mind, preparing yourself. And as Andrew Reid once said, an education is a fortune a child can never spend.